Hi, I'm Greg Scott, and welcome to the 30-day challenge. Well, week 4 of the 4-week challenge I agreed to take on. This is week 4, day 2, and tonight I want to talk about a retro way and an easy way to steal somebody's identity. You'll see. You'll see. I've written a bunch of blog posts about electronic data breaches and identity theft over the internet. I even published a book about how a data breach might unfold and how to steal 40 million customer credit cards. I'm publishing another one about what might happen if a nation state really does attack the United States across the internet. But if you're looking for an easy, retro way to steal somebody's identity with minimal investment, this is how to do it, and it's got a little bit of a modern twist, and you don't need to invest anything. Here's what you do. Let's say I want to steal from somebody named, say, John Smith. And John lives in Houston, Texas. Well, I can walk into a post office and let's say Newport, Minnesota, because post office boxes are the cheapest to find there in the Twin Cities metro area that I could find. So I walk into the post office in Newport, Minnesota, Twin Cities suburb. I fill out a change of address form. I put a stamp on it. I give it to the guy behind the counter, and that's it. That's all I got to do. A few days later, mail for John Smith starts coming to me. It really is that easy. It happened to my friend Ann and her husband, and I'll put a link to the story, to Ann's story, as soon as I get done making this video. This gets better. When the credit card companies find out about John's new address, which is, my post office box in Newport, Minnesota, well, the credit card companies are going to update their information. They're going to start sending their mailings to me. Paper statements have complete account numbers, and that means I'll own John's credit card numbers. If I want John's online banking password, I can just call the bank, give them John's new address, and maybe I can persuade the other person the person on the other end of the phone to reset John's password for me, and then I'll own John's online banking. Maybe in a twist of irony, I'll tell them, hey, I'm John. I'm a fraud victim. Somebody messed with me. I need you to change my password. And I can cancel John's old credit card, and I can have the bank send me a new one. I can have all kinds of fun with John's money. But wait a second, this gets better. Relying on my social engineering skills to manipulate a telephone banker into giving me access to John's information, that's risky. I mean, what if I'm talking to somebody on the other end and they don't believe my smooth silver tongue? Let's see if I can do something better. Let's see if I can manipulate two-factor authentication. Now, what's that mean? Two-factor authentication means if I want to pretend to be John, I must possess something John has and something John knows. Well, I have his address. I just stole it from him. Let's see if I can get something he knows. Maybe I can get his social security number. Okay, now, give me a second. We're going to go to some screen sharing. I'm going to show you something. This will blow your mind. That's a window within a window within window. That's not what I want to show you. I did a Google search. I just searched for social security number fulls, F-U-L-L-Z, because when you make something plural, you put a Z on it in this world. I found a website called deep.web a little while ago. Here it is. This is a directory. Anything illicit or illegal that you want to buy, boom, here's how to find it. Check this out. They're even looking for writers. As you know, I'm an author. Maybe I should write for these guys. Let's see if they finish checking my browser here. And here's all the requirements to write for them. I can write an article of a minimum of 500 words. Here's their about page. You'll enjoy this. Their about page says, we are a team that gathers information and educates the public on everything related to the dark net. We have extensive knowledge and experience with the different darknet communities, and we gather our information from blah, 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 blah. It's all right there for anybody to find. Well, there's more. I found this one. I included this one as an author. I've been told that book covers are a big deal because covers need to be attractive, and so here's some cover art for this illicit website that sells credit card numbers. This one doesn't sell social security numbers, but I included it just because it's got a catchy cover picture. This one isn't so catchy and clever, but this one This one has a sample of some of the stuff this guy sold. And I was thinking, poor Christine Kuykendall, who has a Bank of America banking account. Here's her account number, and here's her balance, and here's her PIN number. Here's where she lives, and her social security number is right here. There's Christine's information. Here's a guy named Warner Wilson, and here's his address and phone number and email address. I think I might send an email to these people and tell them that their information is up for sale. Here's another one. Here's a website where I can just buy fake IDs. This stuff took about 15 minutes. Took me about 15 minutes to find. That's how easy this stuff is to find. It's just amazing. All right, let's go back to video on me. What happens? What does John do to fight back after all this stuff? What tools does John have? Well, after I've stolen John's identity and hijacked his address, the U.S. Post Office will send a notice to John's old address about his new address. That might take a week or so. That's pretty much it. That's all he gets. Now, sooner or later, the real John's going to find out I stole his identity. But by then it'll be too late. I'll live like a king for a few weeks and I'll ruin John's credit before robbing my next victim. Maybe I'll use deep.web to find another marketplace. Maybe I'll sell John's social security number. Although, social security numbers on the dark net are worth about $1, so maybe it's not even worth it to me to sell it. Who said crime doesn't pay? By the way, I am publicizing how to do this illegal, illicit, awful, terrible stuff. Don't get mad at me for publicizing it. If I can find a site like deep.web in like 15 minutes, maybe a half hour of Google searches, so can anybody else on the planet. It's not rocket science. Bad guys collaborate all the time. Bad guys spend all day long probing us, and they spend all night long collaborating with each other to make their probe for the next day's work better. Good guys aren't going to win by isolating ourselves from information, so I'm sharing. Are you outraged? I know I am. This problem should be easy to fix. When I change my U.S. mail address in person, I have to go visit a post office and pick up a form, right? Why not fill out the form right there at the post office and show somebody behind the counter my ID? At least make me go to the trouble of getting a fake ID to pretend to prove I am who I say I am before I change my address. How hard can that be? Maybe it's time to make some noise with some government officials. I found a URL for that, and I'll post that as soon as I get done with this. I'll post it in the comments down below, and maybe if several thousand people submit complaints, maybe we'll get somebody's attention, or maybe that'll all disappear into a bureaucratic black hole. You know what? Forget all that. Don't protest. Forget all that. I want to get rich quick. My real name is Donald J. Trump. My old address is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. Reminds me, I got to look up the zip code. My new address is Post Office Box 111, Newport, Minnesota, where I really did spend $15 a few months ago to rent a post office box for 3 months, no ID required. Next time, I want to talk about the time I had to man up to my own security mistake and how I recovered. If I'm going to preach to the world, care and share to be prepared, I better practice what I preach. So I'm going to share a taste of my own medicine. Thanks for putting up with me, and I'll see you next time.